Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Monday, September 13th. I'm not the Prez. He will be back on Wednesday. You get me, Steve Merrill, today on Monday and tomorrow on Tuesday as your guest host here for Wager Talk Today on Wager Talk TV. And Rocksteady Teddy, he never misses a show. He's not allowed to miss a show until next July. The contract says so. Is with me as always. Teddy covers WagerTalk.com. And before we get to Teddy's triple, quadruple, 6 times B for the weekend, bad beats, big breaks, bad bets, bad for the book. I can't even keep it straight anymore, Teddy. There's so many Bs. Huge weekend college and pro football. We're going to recap in a moment. But, of course, we've got a big look ahead to this week's football card as well. And I know it might not be till Saturday or Sunday, but we have that look ahead. It starts today because the lines are out as we speak. And we've got 2 of the best from Las Vegas, Nevada, joining us here on the show today to talk about those games coming up. We've got a lot of football on the show today. We got Marco D'Angelo, one of the hottest cappers on the planet, fresh off a 5-0 Sunday. He's going to talk about Michigan State at Miami of Florida, Cowboys, Chargers, and then a little baseball. Diamondbacks, Dodgers. Let's not forget about the baseball. It's still here. Bryan Leonard's going to talk a baseball game as well. He's got a couple NFL games also, including his hometown, Cleveland Browns, to discuss, coming off a tough loss against the Chiefs. Do they bounce back? We will ask Bryan Leonard. And then, of course, we do have Monday Night Football. Vegas is hosting tonight. Ravens at Las Vegas. That'll be the big game breakdown for Teddy covers. But, Teddy, before we get to all that football and a little bit of baseball, tell me what you learned this weekend. Where were the bad beats, the bad bets, and bad for the books on the Saturday and Sunday college and pro football card, and maybe some baseball?
There you go. You got some B's. You understand the B's. It's not complicated. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Let's talk about what we saw this past weekend. We'll start with some bad beats, and there were some brutal ones this weekend. Let's start in college on Saturday. Army never punted against Western Kentucky. Did they cover -6? No, they did not. Hilltoppers with a drive at the end of the first half and a drive at the end of the second half lose by only 3. Army doesn't cover at -6 in a game where they never punted. Florida was up 35-3 at the half against USF, and they started thinking about Alabama next week. They ended up winning by only 22 against the Bulls. Didn't cover 28.5 in that ballgame. Brutal beats. Every half point matters. Memphis -5.5 versus Arkansas State. They're up 55-36 with 4 minutes left. A TD, a 3-and-out, a TD, a 3-and-out. Then Arkansas State's taking Hail Marys into the end zone at the gun. Memphis wins by only 5, laying 5.5. What about North Texas +22.5? You're down 14-12 with 5 left in the third after a missed 2-point conversion that would have tied the game. That missed 2-point conversion mattered. SMU 3 late touchdowns, including an 85-yarder as the last one for the 23-point win. North Texas +22.5. No good. Cards Titans. This was the worst one in the NFL yesterday, I think. Well, no, the Niners was the worst one. But this was pretty bad. I don't know which was worse. They were both really bad. Cards Titans, the total's 51.5, bet up to 54. They have 51 after 3 quarters. Arizona, Tennessee, scoreless 4th. Under cashes over the whole way. Not when it counted. And, of course, the 49ers. Bet from -7.5 to -9.5. I warned you guys on opening line report last week. If you like San Fran, bet them sooner rather than later. 7.5 up to 9.5. They led 41-17 at the 2-minute warning, complete blowout. Then touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick recovery, touchdown, 2-point conversion. That was initially ruled no good. Niners fumble, and shoot, the Lions are getting 4 shots at the end zone from the San Fran 25. 49ers win by only 8. Detroit gets most of the money in that one. Bad bets. Well, where did the bettors get it wrong this weekend? There was a bunch on Saturday. Money for Ohio State with the Oregon defensive injuries, -14 to -15. The Ducks won that game straight up. They bet Rice against Houston. The Owls were as low as +7 in that game. They got blown out. They bet Arizona State versus UNLV. Arizona State was in a dogfight to win that game in the first half. End up pulling away, never sniffed the point spread cover. USC got bet up to minus 18 versus Stanford. USC got blown out at home by Stanford. What about in the NFL? The Jaguars took wise guy money yesterday. Did you guys see Urban Meyer's face during that game? I couldn't turn that game off. Jacksonville's not a right side. Wise guys got that wrong. Washington was another wise guy special. Fitz got hurt. I'm not sure it mattered. I'm sure it doesn't matter because the point spread this week is already up. They don't care. There's no difference between Fitz and Heineke. But the offensive line didn't hold up. The Chargers win there. Washington wrong. And of course, that was pretty much it for bad bets. Or a few more. But I got to edit myself. Bad for the books. Look, South Carolina on Saturday, +2 at the open, -3 at the close. The last second field goal, they won by exactly 3 versus East Carolina. That's an absolute worst scenario for the books because 5-point line move all cashes, any buyback pushes. Everybody gets paid on South Carolina. Wyoming, Northern Illinois was another one like that. -5, bet up to -7. The Cowboys were up 42-16. Then they fell behind 43-42, and then they scored the game-winning touchdown and the 2-point conversion to win by exactly 7. That's not a good result for the house. Again, all the buyback money pushes, and all the Wyoming money wins. Pitt against Tennessee, -2 up to -4. They won by 7. All public money on Iowa. That was a disaster game for public books. Iowa beats Iowa State again. And, of course, there's nobody betting UConn. The books can't make a spread high enough. Purdue wins that game 49-0. They were bet up from -32 to -35. NFL totals, all bad for the books yesterday. All the big moves. Steelers, Bills under cashes. Seahawks, Colts under cashes. Browns and Chiefs over. Sharps and squares both on that game. Dolphins, Pats under cashes. And, of course, the Broncos, Giants under cashes as well, despite the touchdown in the final play of the game. No extra point after that last second TD, although it mattered for some who got a 41. Most people, 41.5, 42 on that game, would have stayed under anyway. And, of course, last but not least, Mr. Merrill, the Sunday night Rams blowout over the Bears. That was not a good game for the books. Whole lot of money on LA last night, and all that money cashed. There you have it. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Monday edition during football season. It's fun to write. It's fun to talk about. Hope you were on some of the right sides of those decisions. Steve, back to you.
Of course, I was not on the right side. In fact, the one you mentioned for the NFL was my first play of the day was the over in the game that was 38-13 halfway through the third quarter, or needed a field goal to go over. That was the Arizona-Tennessee game, and it did not get there. But for my NFL Fade the Public video, the most public play this week in the NFL was the San Francisco 49ers, Teddy. So I will say that was good for the books. A GFB, a good for the books, because Detroit was the most underloved team on the card all NFL weekend. Rams, as you mentioned, though, was the second most public play. So obviously that was a hard hit for the sports books. Third most public play, by the way, was the Packers, and they lost outright 38-3. So Fading the Public went 1-1 or 2-1. That Lions game was 8 when I put it out, but as you said, it did go to 9.5, so it made a difference. And by the way, all 3 of those games, the line was higher by kickoff than when I did the video on Friday night, Saturday morning. So something to keep an eye on. You can use that video a lot of different ways, but one thing that's pretty consistent is those lines usually continue to rise 80-90% of the time, those heavily bet teams. Once again, that was week 1 NFL, week 2 college football. A great recap by Ted. You talk about rapid fire, man. You got about half the games in there in a very efficient manner. Let's get to Marco D'Angelo. We got more games to talk about. We got a loaded card today. Marco and, of course, Bryan Leonard. Big game breakdown for Monday Night Football coming up in between. Marco, welcome to the show. You had a fantastic Sunday, 5-0 sweep. Not a surprise. I think since the All-Star break now, you're still hitting 65% overall in all sports. I'll throw it to you, my man. You don't need any more further introduction. You're a red hot. Let me ask you, before we get to the college football game, I want to ask you real quick. Of all these NFL games yesterday, Marco, I always say week 1 doesn't correlate to the rest of the season. It's almost week 4 of the preseason. This year used to be week 5. Which one do you think we're going to look back a month or two from now and be like, man, I can't believe that happened in week 1? I mean, obviously 38-3 Packer loss, but the Saints have had the best record in the NFL the last 4 years. So I'm not sure how surprising that was. But, Marco, what was the game that shocked you the most maybe yesterday in the NFL on Sunday that you don't think is indicative of how it'll play out for maybe one or both teams?
Well, obviously, you're looking today, and when you look at the standings and you see the Philadelphia Eagles on top and you see the Houston Texans, yeah, those two teams will not be anywhere near the top of their divisions as the seasons go on, and it's just one game. But that Saints game yesterday, for me anyways, that was one of my 5 plays yesterday. I was on the Saints, and I was enjoying that. And probably the game I enjoyed the most yesterday was cashing a ticket on the Cleveland Browns and them losing the game outright. As a Steeler fan, I couldn't ask for a better outcome. I bet the Browns, cashed the ticket, and they lost the game. So it was a fun day for me yesterday.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's stick with football. Now, you got some baseball to come up here at the end. We'll follow up with that one, but let's start with football. In fact, let's do a college football game first. We'll get back to college. You got Michigan State, Miami. I actually took a shot with Miami of Florida on Saturday against Appalachian State. They barely won the game. They did not cover. So I want to know what you think of this game. I'm kind of curious to think of your view on the Hurricanes. Obviously, they're coming off the tough game of Alabama. Step down in class is about a 7.5, 8-point favorite, only won by 2, though, on Saturday against Appalachian State. So this is Michigan State at Miami. Hurricanes just below a touchdown favorite.
Yeah, we're getting a benefit of the line here because this is an overreaction. If Miami of Florida takes care of business on Saturday, I think this line is between 8.5, 9 points. Instead, we get this go under the touchdown. We're looking at 6.5 across town here. And I love Miami in this spot. I love to take teams that had the scare is a big favorite because everybody's going to overreact to that. Let's not forget, you said it. They were coming off the Alabama game the week before. You know, it was the first game of the season. You're practicing all the, your summer practices and everything leading up to playing the mighty Alabama, and you lay an egg. And it was the hangover effect, in my opinion. We'll see the real Miami this week. And then the flip side of that, what has Michigan State done that, we're falling in love with them? Yeah, they got 2 blowout wins. One, we're going to see as the season plays out. Northwestern is not a good team this season, so don't overreact to the blowout win over Northwestern. And then last week they played Youngstown State. Come on, they just totally outmanned that team. We'll see the real Michigan State this week. They'll be tested by the Miami defense, and look for Miami to be totally focused this week. I like them. I've got them winning this game by 10 or more. I like Miami of Florida for my first play here on the show.
So, and both of you guys are guys that talk about the concept, don't try to catch the falling knife. Something I heard out of Marco's mouth, something I heard out of Steve Merrill's mouth, and something I talk about as well. And when it comes to week 3 in college football, there are big debates because you have the teams that go 0-2 ATS. And you have to ask yourself, is this team a falling knife, or are they primed for a bounce back here? I've watched both Miami games. I'll tell you what, I'm not inclined to lay points with this team. All right. There was no difference athletically between them and App State on Saturday. That was a pick'em game. Miami got the win, but there was nothing impressive about that win any more than there was anything impressive about the Alabama game. So now we've seen Miami twice. They haven't sniffed a point spread cover in either game. Is this a falling knife? Why are you convinced that they're a bounce back? Why are you convinced that they're power rated correctly?
But Teddy, what you're saying is correct about the falling knife theory. If the 2 games that they're 0-2 would have been of the same caliber of team, saying they're playing, 2 good teams or 2 bad teams, but they weren't. They were coming off that Alabama game. And that's the thing for me, that I expect teams to be flat after playing a big game and getting beat up on. This is the game to me that tells you the rest of the season for Miami. If they come in here and play bad again, then yes, this is a team that we will be on the play against list for me the rest of the way. But I just don't feel that that's the case. I think we see the real Miami. I think they do have some talent down there. Are they a world beater? No, they're not. But they are better than Michigan State. And I know, Michigan State, Big Ten team, what have they done? I mean, do you think Northwestern's a good team this year? I have them ranked, in the bottom half of the Big Ten this year. So I'm not impressed with the win they had there. And you got absolutely nothing as a takeaway from the Youngstown State game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything.
That game. What's that?
I said, I don't disagree with what you're saying in terms of not being overly impressed with Michigan State. I just have my concerns about if Miami's power rated right. All I've seen from the Hurricanes so far this year is nothing that I want to bet on. But that being said, in terms of a spot, it certainly does stand out as Michigan State, facing the toughest competition they faced thus far.
And by the way, that game did open briefly 7 in a lot of spots, and it is now at 6.5 across the board. So it's obviously that half-point move very key off the second most key number in football, 7 down to 6.5.
And Circa opened 8 on that game.
As high as 8.
I don't mean to cut you off. Yeah, so Circa opened 8, and Circa right now is the global leader. They're putting out lines before anyone. So the very first number on that game was 8. When the global marketplace got there, it was 7, and now we're seeing 6.5. So the early money telling us they don't trust Miami any more than I do.
And what's interesting about that, Teddy, I'm looking right now. Circa did open 8. They went down to 6.5, but then one of the offshores opened 6, briefly hit 5.5, and then 6.5. So it's really been moving around. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a 7 again. We'll see what happens. But that's an early kickoff, by the way, noon Eastern on Saturday, first game on the rotation. And Marco likes Miami of Florida to bounce back. Current number -6.5. Marco, let's move over to the NFL here. We'll spend a couple minutes on this real quick, and then we'll get your baseball game as well. Chargers, Cowboys. Teddy mentioned that the Chargers pick up the win on the road yesterday, that the Redskins, the football team, whatever you want to call them, loses their starting quarterback. But he's a journeyman to start with. He already had his suitcases packed anyway. What's your take on this one? The Cowboys look pretty good, obviously, against Tampa on Thursday night, about 7 seconds away from winning that game outright as an 8-point dog. They have a couple extra days to prepare for this game now. They do travel, though, once again. And they have a tough schedule out of the gate here with Tampa. But now I don't believe they play another playoff game, a playoff opponent, until like mid-October from last season. So the Cowboys can maybe pick up some wins. Yet they're a 2.5-point dog in this game. What are your thoughts on Cowboys at Chargers late Sunday afternoon?
Well, Steve, I'm going to make a bold prediction. You talked at the beginning of the show about the video you do every Friday about the public teams and so forth. I guarantee you this game's going to be on that video Friday when you're talking about it, and it's going to be everybody and their brother on the Dallas Cowboys. Why? Well, one of the things I like about week 2 is half the teams are going to be coming off a loss in week 1. And the old adage that you're going to hear around the sports books on Sunday this week is, hey, this team can't start the season 0-2. Yeah, they can, and they will. I do a segment on our show, Bet On It, where I call a trap game. And this is going to be one of the leading candidates for that segment. The public is going to run and bet Dallas. And the reason being is, could you possibly look any better in losing than they did on the largest stage, Thursday Night Football, the opening kickoff of the season for everybody to see? And Dak's back. That offense went up and down the field against the world champ Super Bowl team, Tampa Bay, and Tom Brady, the GOAT of all time. And everybody's going to run for free money. The other thing they're going to do is this line opened at 3. It's already down to 2.5. I heard the books already are pre-printing teaser tickets with Dallas plus 8.5 on it to save time for everybody coming into the books on Sunday. This is going to be the most bet game for the Dallas Cowboys. It's a late game, so it's one of the few late afternoon games, which gets it even more attention and more bets. I ain't buying it. You're +3 on turnovers in the NFL. You are supposed to win the game. I don't care if it's Tom Brady or not. This defense for the Dallas Cowboys still sucks. Yes, they've got one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL, but the defense can't stop anybody. And the Chargers, it was an ugly win yesterday. Yeah, Fitzpatrick went out. A lot of people might make that, a good thing that he went out for Washington. But the fact of the matter is they won ugly. Dallas won looking good. I love going against teams that look good in losing because they're too much of a public play and they are getting line value sucked away from them because the public overreacts to it. This is the Chargers home opener, and I know that this has been a stadium that the Chargers have not, since they've moved to LA, the Chargers have not had home field advantage. But there is some excitement with this team this year and the new coaching staff. I like them here to get the win. Keep betting Dallas for me, people. I'll wait till later in the week before I fire, and take the value. Many times I'm going to be on the show, Teddy, and say, get this game now. The line's not going to be there. No, wait. If you're betting the Chargers, as I am, wait till later in the week. You're going to get the best number.
So the one question I have about this when we talk about laying points with the Chargers, all right, this is a team that, as we saw very much against the Washington football team yesterday, and we saw it repeatedly last year, easy games are hard for the Chargers. They find ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And they really, I mean, they dominated that game against the Washington football team. They could have won that game by 40. I don't know, by 40. They could have won that game by a couple of touchdowns. And instead, they're life and death to win it with a backup quarterback in there. Do you worry about the Chargers' inability to kind of put their foot on an opposing team's neck? Because I haven't seen that mentality from the Chargers. And you're not laying a big price here, but you are asking them to win by some kind of a margin. Tampa couldn't beat Dallas by margin last week.
Teddy, I would not be surprised if come Sunday that this game's down to 1 or 1.5, where then we're just asking them to win the ball game. And if we get into that situation, if the line keeps coming down and you're going to get so much Dallas Cowboy money line action that you're going to get a good price if you are laying 1.5 or 2 to maybe just take the Chargers on money line, you'll get value there. Remember this. Yes, that has been the MO for the Chargers, that they find ways to lose games or make them tougher than they should be. The fact is they did win the game yesterday. This is a new coaching regime. We all, bashed Anthony Lynn, endlessly over the years for his play calling and clock management and decisions that he made with the Chargers. Until I see them make those mistakes that we've seen in the past, I'm going to say new coaches, new attitude, and go with the Chargers. And they should only get better by the week as they get more comfortable with the new coaching staff and the systems. Remember, this is a rookie quarterback in year 2. If you think back to Baker Mayfield when he had to change, the offensive coordinators every year, he wasn't making those, getting mature and growing in the NFL. He had learning curves with the new coaching staffs. I think you're not going to see that here with the Charger quarterback. I like what he did yesterday, and it's not easy. I don't care who you're playing to win on the road, beat a team in their home opener. There's all that excitement every year because no matter how good or bad your team is, you're starting the season with hope. Even the Lions get excited for their home opener. Detroit fans, that happens to go away real quick, but look at this, and it's still second week on the road. That's not easy to start the season for the Cowboys. I'll take the Chargers, and I'll stand by the pick.
And I'm with you. I would think this is definitely a candidate to be a consensus top 3 on Sunday when I do the video Friday coming into this weekend, Marco. We'll see. And by the way, looking ahead, my prediction, I think one of them is going to be the New Orleans Saints. And what's ironic about that, they're playing the Panthers, by the way. The Saints were one of the 3 play-against teams by the public last week, and they very well might be one of the most public plays this week. That's how fickle and short-term thinking the public is, and that's why I love doing that video each week here on WagerTalk TV. Here in the last minute, Marco, let's get a baseball game in real quick. Let's look at Diamondbacks Dodgers. We always talk about September as a time where we can take a look at some ugly ducklings. Diamondbacks have covered back-to-back games as mid-price dogs around $1.50, $1.60 range. They've won outright the last 2 nights. Dodgers right now have the best run differential in the baseball. They're ahead of the Giants by 60 net runs, yet they're 2.5 back in the division with only about a week to go. So what are your thoughts on this one? How do you attack Diamondbacks at Dodgers tonight on Monday?
I'll make this one short and sweet because honestly, taking Arizona is not a lot of good things you can say. What I will say is pitcher on the mound tonight, Zach Gallen, has been absolutely tremendous. In his last 4 starts, 24 2/3 innings pitched, he's only allowed 6 runs over those 4 starts. In his career against the Dodgers, it's a short career, and I know we don't like to make too much out of career numbers, but whenever they're recent, is with this guy, you have to take notice. In 5 starts, he's got an ERA of 2.45 and a whip of 0.95. Kershaw's pitching tonight. He's coming off the DL. You're going to get maybe 4 innings tops out of Kershaw tonight. because they're trying to get him back into shape for the playoffs. And the final thing, why I'm going to take the flyer with Arizona, I'm going to go first 5 because I don't trust the bullpen, and I want to have that matchup of Gallen versus Kershaw. But the Dodgers are coming off the Padres series. They've played the Padres 4 other times this season. They're 0-4 the next game off of the Padres series. They come out flat as a pancake. They just swept the Padres, which has been a heated battle all season with the Padres until this one. They really took it to them. I look for the Dodgers to be flat tonight, and I'm going to take a flyer at a big number, Arizona first 5.
Marcos coming off a 5-0 Sunday, highlighted by a 5% winner on Arizona. By the way, I think Arizona is going to be one of your top 3 consensus picks this week. I can sense.
I agree.
After Minnesota's loss and the Cardinals' win yesterday, Arizona's going to be a hot team this week. But Marcos off that 5-0 Sunday, highlighted by that 5% winner on Arizona. Since July 28th, 58-31, 65% winners with all his plays. So 65% since July. That a really good track record. Marco, what do you have to promote on $9 Monday over at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com?
Well, guys, you got a treat. I'm giving away my college football game of the month, 5% play for Saturday for $9 today. We've hit 6 straight 5% plays. And guys, midnight, it goes back to $35. I also expect this line to move. Get it today. Save yourself money, $9. And when you do buy the package, when you get the play, there's a little surprise in there, a bonus offer for you. You can get a real good deal for me for the week and get all of my plays. Take advantage of that hot streak. So head over to WagerTalk.com. $9 Monday, not just me, everybody, both WagerTalk and Sports Memo.
Yeah, once again, a 5-0 sweep on Sunday. Now you can save 75% on his 5% college football best bet for this weekend, and it expires at midnight. It's $9 Monday, which means you only have less than 12 hours to go to get that special discount. Marco D'Angelo, $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com. Also for myself, Steve Merrill, and Teddy Covers, $9 Monday, WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Thank you, Marco. Best of luck this week. And by the way, viewers, if you like the 3 best bets, the free selections he just gave you, take 2 seconds right now. Give us a thumbs up, click the like, and make sure you're subscribed to Wager Talk TV. We just hit 75,000 subscribers over this weekend.
Woo-hoo!
We're closing in on 80 and then 100,000. That's our goal. Subscribe and like and comment below. And stay tuned for 20 seconds from now. Teddy Covers is back with big game breakdown, NFL Monday Night Football, Ravens and Raiders.
Why pay regular price when you can save money on every purchase with WagerBucks at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo? WagerBucks are now eligible for use on not just daily, 3-day, and 7-day passes, but all long-term and seasonal packages up to 1 full year. There are tons of options available for every budget and size of better, from as low as $90 gets $100, all the way up to $3,500 gets you $5,000. Save every day on every pick you buy with WagerBucks.
For today's big game breakdown, we got to talk Monday Night Football, the first Monday Night Football of the year. Well, the first real Monday Night Football of the year. We had one in preseason. That doesn't count. Ravens and the Raiders. Right now, looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, I'm seeing the Ravens -4 here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. Total sitting 50.5. You can find some variance off there. There are 50s if you want to bet over. There are 51s if you want to bet under. I got to, before I break down the game, I do want to let you know about what happened this past weekend. Look, I'm running good, guys. Marco's running good. I'm running good. 7-2 weekend overall. Off a 3-0 NFL Sunday. NFL week 1's been ridiculous. 21-4 over the last 6 years in week 1. And I do have a play on $9 Monday on the side for this Monday Night Football game. Again, you can get that right now, only $9 over at WagerTalk or SportsMemo.com. From a total standpoint, there's a lot of things to talk about. All right, certainly the Raiders' pass defense was a sieve last year. There's a track record of Monday Night Footballs going over early. And Baltimore had some big losses in their front seven. Not just Matthew Judon. It's kind of not say rebuilt, but a reloaded unit. So you can make some cases for the over here. I'm not going to make a case for the over. I'm going to look at the under. Look, Richie Incognito is going to be out for the Raiders. That's huge in a situation where, again, they remade their offensive line this past offseason. All right. 3 starters gone. Now Incognito not going to play tonight. That's 1 starter back from last year on the offensive line against the Ravens pass rush. All right. Then we look at Baltimore defensively. Week 1, does Harbaugh have them ready? Over the last 5 years in week 1, the Ravens have allowed 6, 10, 3, 0, and 7 points. The last 10 years, they've gone up 20 points only twice in week 1. And of course, it's neither one of these teams did a whole lot in the preseason. The Raiders starters didn't see the field, So will they be able to punch in touchdowns in the red zone? Will they be in prime form to march the ball up and down the field? I'm not convinced that's going to be the case. And given the issues with Baltimore's skill position talent, they've had issues at running back. They have issues at receiver. Put it all together. Look at the under tonight for Monday Night Football. I'm not convinced it's going to be a high-scoring affair. Under 50.5 as a prevailing number. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Merrill.
Thank you, Mr. Covers. And just a quick reminder, if you are doing work on a Monday, as I know many of you are, you can listen to us in audio form, of course, right here on WagerTalk TV. I know you love to see me and Teddy. I don't mind you looking up occasionally from your desk, but don't forget also, though, that we had over 100,000 plus podcast downloads last week. So, people are listening by podcast form, and there's nothing wrong with that. You'll get plenty of video interaction with us during the week. So check out the podcast downloads, WagerTalk TV, WagerTalk.com. Listen, watch. Either way, you're getting great content right here on these channels. And once again, thank you to all of you that had subscribed. We had 75,000 subscribers. We're looking to hit 100. Let's make that happen. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button right now. If you'd like to get alerts when opening line report is ready, which Teddy will be doing right after the show here, or when my Fade the Public NFL video is ready this weekend, Friday, heading into the weekend, hit the bell. You get instant alerts. You'll be the first to see or hear the video and audio. And then most importantly, give us a thumbs up, like, and comment below. Let us know who you like this week in the NFL and college football. And speaking of some NFL, Teddy, let's keep on that NFL train. We'll bring in Bryan Leonard to talk some pro football, also a teeny bit of baseball at the end. Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com, Cleveland native, Vegas resident now. Bryan, will you be going to the game tonight? Is there energy in town with the Raiders hosting the Ravens? Teddy just did it for the big game breakdown. I've actually got a best bet for the game for $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. Bryan, are the Raiders your team now, or are you still a Cleveland Browner for life?
No, I was a Raiders fan when I lived in Cleveland, actually, back in the old days of the Stick'em. So I've always rooted for the Raiders. I'm hoping they do well. No, I won't be going to the game. Too many things going on a Monday with football season and betting and the whole bit. It's too much for me. And it got as with Teddy and all of us doing our stats and everything for the weekend. Monday Night Football. I'm hoping to get out and watch it somewhere. But other than that, no, I won't be going to the game. That's a little bit too much of a full day situation right now, trying to get in and out of the Strip.
Well, it'll be exciting.
Not to mention that, the tickets, all right, there is demand, there's high demand, and there's insane demand. Raiders tickets this year for all the games, insane demand, because it's not just Raiders fans, it's all the fans from the opposing cities that are coming to town to see their team play the Raiders at Allegiant. And then this is the first game the Raiders have played with their regular season and there's fans. So ticket demand tonight is insane. If you're on a budget, you ain't going to the game.
Even if you have the money, a lot of people can't afford to go to the game.
And even if you have the tickets, you got to start thinking that you're paying that price because you could sell them for that price elsewhere. So you really have to start thinking, do I want to pay $1,000 to go see this game tonight, or can I unload it? So it's interesting, and it's going to be a very unique home field because, like you said, Teddy, this is a city that really has fans from all over the country for the last 30, 40 years. There's been no team. So how many Raider fans will there really be on a regular basis, especially if they start to struggle? Last night it was cool. The LA Stadium. First time they had fans there after opening. And now LA, now Vegas. So they did it right with these two primetime games. I guess it wasn't a coincidence that they scheduled it this way. Brian, let's stick with the NFL here. I mentioned earlier the most public play coming in this week was the 49ers. Teddy covered it in his bad beat segment. I definitely think it qualifies if you had San Fran as a bad beat. You got to push at best. Very, very many people bet it Sunday actually ended up with a loss. They dominated the Lions, but then they blew that lead late. It actually were in dire straits there inside almost the red zone at the end. How do you think they bounce back this week? Is there a little bit of a hangover? Does that wake them up? Does it not matter? They're going into Philadelphia for that early 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff for a West Coast team. And San Francisco more than a field goal favorite on the road.
Yeah, I like San Francisco here. I think the way they came back and made it a game. Well, they never really made it a game, but they covered the number late for Detroit. I think that helps San Francisco here. Is don't take your foot off the gas. It just happened to you. I like San Francisco last week. I think everybody had it as a teaser or a money line play of some sort. But I was really surprised by Philadelphia, to be totally honest with you. I had Atlanta in that game, and Philly just took it to them. And I don't think too much of the Eagles this year. So I'm looking to fade the Eagles. It didn't work for me last week, but I like it this week. It was only 3 on the overnight. That's what I said to you when I talked about the game. And now we're seeing 3.5s and 4s. So I would expect it to continue to go up. San Francisco looked really good, even in a non-covering, I guess if we're going to go by the closing line. Philadelphia just, to me, they outplayed their talent. So I'm going to continue to fade Philly here. I think this line continues to go up. I wouldn't surprise to see a 4.5 later on in the week. So grab those 3.5s that are out there now if you like the San Francisco side.
Now, the 49ers are staying east for 10 days. After Detroit, they're going to West Virginia and then up to Philadelphia. So it's not really a West Coast team traveling east. And they've done fairly well in this situation. I think they did this 2 years ago where they went back-to-back road games, week 1 and week 2, and they blew out their opponent the second week. Is that a factor in your handicap here, or is it just Philly overachieved, San Fran misleading final score, 49ers are the class, or is the staying east factor a big piece of the equation?
Yeah, it is a bit of a factor, but it's not the major factor. San Francisco's done this for a few years now, and they've had success doing it. I think a lot of the teams learn from one another, and we don't see a lot of teams going all the way back again. So it's just something we'll see in the future if you've got a quality staff that learns from what's happened in the past, which we don't always get in the NFL.
And by the way, that going to West Virginia is something you mentioned, Teddy, that they did before. And it's interesting also, of course, they had the 1 o'clock start in Detroit last week, so this is not as much of a body clock shock for San Francisco as it normally would be. And I do think they'll have some momentum. But like you said, Brian, that's 3.5s out there. We're seeing 4s in a lot of the Vegas books. I'd be very surprised if it goes any lower. So I think 3.5 is going to be the best chance you get to take San Francisco. And they are looking a little public again this week. They were the most public play last week, and the early consensus numbers I'm seeing looks like San Francisco's getting some love this week, even though Philly did have the big blowout win against Atlanta. Let's do one more NFL game, Brian, before we get to your specialty, Major League Baseball, which you and I both love still, even in September. But I got to ask you about your Cleveland Browns, your Brownies. Tough loss yesterday, obviously, against one of the best teams in the league, Kansas City. They did cover. That line closed mostly for 5.5. They lost by 4. Houston, though, I asked Marco, which result do you think from week 1 won't translate to the rest of the season? And I'm not necessarily Jacksonville getting blown out won't translate, but, man, the Houston Texans putting up 37 points. They had in the mid-30s early in that game, really took their foot off the gas. What are your thoughts on Houston? Was that a one and done, or are they maybe going to be a sleeper team this year? We've got Houston at your beloved Browns. Browns laying double digits in this one.
I'll lay the Browns here. I was really impressed by the Browns yesterday, even though they didn't get that win. Lost turnover battle 2-0. They were the better team most of the day. I wasn't a big believer in the Browns. I thought, I thought they'd be good, but actually outplayed what I thought they would do yesterday. One kind of a fluke play by the Chiefs, which they do very well, the long bomb, and that worked out for them. But I was really impressed by Cleveland. I thought Cleveland was a better team. And I was really surprised. The look ahead was about 14 in this game. Now we're seeing 12.5s and 12s. I don't like the line move. Houston didn't impress me as much as Jacksonville showed what a train wreck they are at this point. So, Jacksonville line has moved about 3 points off the overnight. So There's people fading Jacksonville, and I think that's the correct move. But they're not fading Houston. And I think Houston continues. I mean, if you know that you're expected to be the worst team in football all offseason, you think about it. You're playing at home. You're a home dog to a Jacksonville team that nobody thinks is very good. And you come out and you're fired up. You win that game. I think this is an overrated Houston team at this point.
So just looking at the Browns, they had one game last year where they were favored by double digits and they didn't sniff a point spread cover there. Is Cleveland the kind of team that has the we're going to close this game out strong in the fourth quarter mentality that you can lay doubles with in the NFL? Because, there's you can make a case that the back door would be open for the Texans late in this one. I was surprised at Tyrod Taylor's chucking the football around yesterday. Taylor completed a couple of bombs, which, he's a check down QB waiting to happen. And yesterday he wasn't. Does that concern you here in this point spread?
Yeah, I'm very happy for Taylor. He seems to be a really good guy, and nobody ever gives him any chances. So I'm happy for him. But this Cleveland team, last year, you're right. This was a team that couldn't hold a lead. People are going to say the same thing about Kansas City, that game this week. But Cleveland's defense is so much better than it was in the past. It didn't show a lot in yesterday's game because you're going against the best quarterback in how long. But if you watch the Cleveland defense, as soon as they touched the player, they were down. They were a sure tackling team yesterday, and they weren't that way last year. So I think I really like this defense as the season goes forward. We didn't see it yesterday. People are going to say the same old Browns. I think they really shut down this Houston offense this week.
Once again, Bryan Leonard likes his hometown Cleveland Browns. That rhymes. Minus the 12.5. And as Bryan said, this line would have been over 2 touchdowns a week ago. So, I mean, there's no question that Houston's surprisingly dominant performance against a very bad Jacksonville team probably has shaded this down a couple points. So you could make an argument you're now getting value with a 12.5 point favorite. I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that makes sense. Bryan, let's quickly look at some baseball here before we let you go. Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com. I'm, of course, Steve Merrill, joined by Teddy Covers, both at WagerTalk.com as well. $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com for any baseball game tonight. And, of course, any advanced football game for this weekend that is posted as well. Just $9, $9 Monday right now, WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. Bryan, let's talk about the Cardinals and Mets. The Mets looked like they were the driver's seat all year in the NL East. DeGrom getting hurt was a huge blow. I mean, that was basically the difference because right now I think they're, 3 games back of the wild card. You got to figure if they'd had DeGrom the last couple of months, that's probably the 3 games right there. But the team that really has surprised me since the trade deadline has been the Cardinals. They were basically in the same boat with the Cubs in mid-July, and we all said they both should be sellers, 2 prominent organizations that never are sellers. The Cubs became sellers. The Cardinals really didn't. I didn't understand that, but they knew more than I did at the time because they're now 1 game back still for the wild card behind Cincinnati and the Padres that just can't get it done for some reason. Do you think the Cardinals can make the playoffs, and how are you attacking this game tonight between 2 teams that are still in contention but somewhat heading in opposite direction, Cardinals at Mets?
Yeah, it's $9 Monday. I've got 2 plays up today. I've got this baseball game, so don't buy my baseball game. I'm giving it to you for free here. I do have a 5% play in Saturday college football, 26-11-1 on our 5% play. Swept them again this week. I like the Cardinals here. I mean, one of the reasons I like them, obviously, the starting pitcher's just been fantastic over the last couple of months. He's been very good. But the real reason I like St. Louis here is to fade the Mets. And we talked earlier about the Mets hadn't played any over 500 teams, and that's one of the reasons why they're struggling now. But yesterday, as everybody's watching the Cardinals the Rams win on Sunday Night Football, the Mets and the Yankees were playing in one of the most exciting games of the baseball season. If you watch that game, the mixture of the fans in New York, it was a lot of fun to watch. It was a game that went late, and it was a late finish in that game, and now they've got to turn around after beating their arch rival, the Yankees, turn around and beating St. Louis. I like St. Louis here. I think the line's very cheap. They're looking at like 105, 107 for St. Louis. Give me the Cardinals. It's just a team playing very well right now, and you're right. When the Cardinals and Colorado didn't make the moves I thought they should make, I thought they were done for the season. both teams have played really well since the trade deadline. So St. Louis playing good ball right now. I like the pitching matchup. I like St. Louis, and that'll be my top baseball play for the day. But don't buy it on the site. It's yours for free here.
Yeah, if you want to buy something, buy Brian's 5% college football blowout for Saturday. Again, only $9 on Monday. Brian on a 26-11 5% run. That's a documented track record of success. Brian, thank you so much for being here today. Best of luck. Anything else you want to say on your way out?
Just want to wish everybody a profitable week, and hopefully we'll see them again next week. By the way, doing the baseball show today in just a couple hours, so we'll talk some more baseball for Steve and I and all of our baseball friends out there.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. I'm glad you brought that up. That's MLB first pitch. It'll be on about 1 hour from now, about 1:50 Eastern, right here on WagerTalk TV. Bryan Leonard will be on today, and I believe Tony Finn as well. Of course, Drew Martin hosting. Then I'll be on tomorrow, Tuesday, with Dave Koken, the legend, Smoking Dave Koken on Tuesday. And I'll be back tomorrow as a guest host one more time here. If you didn't get enough of me today on Monday, you get me tomorrow on Tuesday as well, as the Prez will be back on Wednesday. Teddy Covers will be here, as always, Monday through Friday as my guest host, co-host, whatever you want to call. And Teddy, great show today. You've got opening line report right around the corner with Drew Martin. You're going to break down every NFL game for this week coming up. Also, let us know where the lines will move. We talked a lot about that on the show today. Really important information when you're looking to bet the NFL. Do you bet it now or do you wait till later in the week? Thank you to Marco D'Angelo, Bryan Leonard for joining us today here on Wager Talk Today. Don't forget $9 Monday at both sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. And Teddy, on the way out, what do you have once again going? I've got a NFL Monday Night Football best bet for $9 Monday. Close it out, my man. Let us know what you have once again.
Me and you both have a single best bet in NFL. Again, off a 3-0 weekend, now 21-4 in week 1 NFL. Wow. I like this week. I wish it would never end. You can get that play, obviously, $9 over at WagerTalk or SportsMemo.com. And again, we want to thank you one more time. 75,000 subscribers. That's incredible. It really is. Thanks for watching. And if you're not subscribed, please click the bell up in the corner, man. Go for it. We really appreciate all the likes. We really appreciate all the follows. We really appreciate all the subscribes. I'll be back in, 12 minutes from now doing opening line report. Must watch TV. If you haven't seen it before, today's the day to stick around. Loaded show. I'll take the over on your MLB first pitch starting at 10:50. All that being said, enjoy the games tonight and good luck. We'll be back right here on Wager Talk Today tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific and noon. You back east. Cheers.
Would you like to bet $20 and win $100 at BetMGM regardless of your wager's outcome and get $100 in free wager bucks? Just go to wt.buzz/MGM for more details and find out if you're eligible for this amazing offer.